Hi, I'm Rayce with Rooted Real Estate of Greater Lansing, and I'm here with Heidi McNaughton from Liberty Title, one of my favorite title companies that I love to work with. And today we're going to just discuss title insurance. What is it? Why it's important? Because a lot of time buyers and even sellers don't know exactly what it is or why we do it. So Heidi, do you want to just start off with the basics of what title is and why it's important?
Right. Title is the right to possess your property and use it. And title insurance insures you of the fact that you have the right to do just that, to use your property and possess your property. And what happens is you get a title insurance policy, and it insures you for items that have happened in the past, which is very different from most insurances. When you think of insurance, you think of, say, for instance, auto insurance, or you think of medical insurance, and those insure you for things that are going to happen in the future, whereas title insurance insures you for things that might have happened in the past.
So that would be things like property disputes or liens from construction that were never paid off or something. Just make sure that the buyers get the home and there's no other issues, like they own it free and clear.
Yep. We always check to see if there are any existing mortgages or any mortgages that might have been missed in the past. The seller may have a judgment against them. There might be use restrictions on the property. Say, for instance, if you buy a residential property, you can't use it for commercial purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it looks for those sort of things.
Okay, and then one thing that always trips up my clients that is like a main contention is there's sellers have to pay for title insurance and then buyers also have to. Can you explain kind of what that means?
Sure, Rayce. There are two types of title insurance policies. One is called an owner's policy, and the other one is a lender's policy. And the owner's policy is typically purchased by the seller of the property, and it insures the buyer. And it is only purchased when the purchase transaction is going on. There's also a lender's policy. So if the buyer of the property gets a mortgage, the buyer is the person getting the lender's policy, but it insures the lender.
So basically title insurance is everyone's buying it for everyone else's sake.
That is correct. And if you go ahead and refinance that property, you will buy another lender's policy. So every time you refinance a property, you'll end up buying a lender's policy.
Yeah, I remember that having to happen when I refinanced my house. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, one thing that like really drives me crazy with closings these days are like split closings. Now on my end, it's just kind of sad because the buyer and seller don't really get to meet each other. But what are things that kind of go on with split closings that's a hassle for title companies and risks involved there?
Okay. So a split closing is when the buyer and the seller go to two different title companies. And on the surface, you might not think much of it, but both title companies are doing a lot of the same activities. And then as it gets closer to closing, they have to make sure all of their numbers match up, that they have to balance. They have to make sure that all the mortgages are paid off. And that in that case, the buyer's mortgage money that's coming in, the buyer's money that's coming in is paying off the seller's mortgage at the other title company. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong.
Especially wire fraud.
Wire fraud is probably the number one concern these days. It's rampant and it's not getting any better. At Liberty Title, we have put together a number of programs to to combat wire
And I love
fraud.
your guys' little wire login thing. I forget what it's called. Entry lock. What is that?
Closing lock.
Closing lock. That's the one. Yes, where it's like really secure.
Yep. It's a two-step authentication, and it helps prevent wire fraud. So, in fact, we spend over $500,000 a year on cybersecurity.
Wow.
So, a lot of title companies can't afford to do something like that, and consumers should really pay attention to who's protecting them.
Yeah, so do you recommend that, like, for people who, because a lot of times buyers will just be like, here's the title company I love most, and they're just like, sure, sounds good. Do you recommend shopping around and getting to know who's going to be doing your title insurance? Because there are some that I would not recommend.
Absolutely. A lot of consumers are surprised when they find out that they have the right to choose their own title company. Many times, a realtor or a lender will just say, well, this is the title company that we use, and the consumer goes along with it. Consumers should check around, go shopping, call the places, get on the internet, see what the ratings are on that particular title company that they happen to be looking
Because
at.
title is probably one of the most, not like right up there with the pre-approval of the final numbers and the clear to close of the title company. That title clears, I think, is the most important thing, and it's mostly overlooked because you guys are so far behind the scenes.
Yep. And I will also say that another issue that you can run into is when you have two title companies, the dispersing of the funds can be delayed.
Yes, no, I know people always get upset about you have like that 4 o'clock closing on a Friday and they want their money that day, but it's just not going to happen. Yeah.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
Well, anything else that you'd like to highlight today, or?
just once again that as a consumer, you have the right to choose your own title company. You should do your due diligence and check around and make sure you get a title company that's going to be the best one for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Heidi, for coming out today, taking time out of your day to make this video. I really appreciate you.
Oh, I'm happy to do so.